Okay everyone, today we're going to do an oil change on my pickup truck. This is the first time I've done one on this vehicle. It's a 2018 F-150 with the 5-liter. We're going to show you how to do an oil change on this car, and it's the same for almost everyone. There's going to be minor differences that I'll point out during the video, but we're gonna jump right into it. The first thing I do before any oil change is I go and get the supplies that I need. This vehicle takes 8.8 quarts of oil, and I use the Motorcraft because it's a Ford product. If you don't know how much oil you take or what kind, whether yours is 020 or 520 or 1030 or whatever flavor it is.
How do you like this?
Yeah, it's delicious. And then for the size of your oil filter too, there's lots of reviews on YouTube on which oil filters are good, which ones to avoid and which ones to go for. I use that oil filter because the engineers that designed this engine specified that oil filter for their intervals and everything else. So your recommendations in the owner's manual work for that oil filter. Besides that, the oil that you use is completely up to you as long as it has the SAE stamp on it. Let me find it. So as long as it has this SAE rating on it, this little circle, you can use that in your vehicle. The cheaper oils will still meet that recommendation, but I prefer the higher quality products. I forgot to mention earlier that if you don't know what oil you use, most vehicles will say the kind of oil you need on your oil fill cap as well. So you could either ask the auto parts store for which filter and oil you need, or you can look on your fuel cap to see if there's any clues before you can before you go ask them. So this yellow handle here is called the dipstick. It's where you check your oil. You can actually, you can see that my oil's not that dirty. The reason I'm changing it is because, like I said before, I bought this truck just a couple months ago. It had new oil in it when I bought it, but it hit 40,000 miles. And I do my oil changes on 10,000 mile intervals because that's what the owner's manual recommends. So I'm doing it at 40. So it's easy for me to remember when I need an oil change again. So at 50, and then at 60, and then at 70. You probably don't need to read your owner's manual before operating the vehicle, but you should know what's in it and become familiar with your vehicle so you can do oil changes at the proper times and make wise decisions about your service. Okay, these skid plate bolts on the 2018 F-150 are 15 millimeter. Most vehicles newer than 2000 are going to be all metric, and if they are standard, they have a metric counterpart that's just about the same size. I'm way too far forward. I don't even need to remove the skid plate. But like I said, it's my first time doing an oil change on this truck, so we'll learn together. Alright, that tried to remove the skid plate? No, let's find the oil drain. Alright, so the thing that you need to do when you get under your vehicle is you need to locate the oil pan, which unfortunately is this truck. In this truck, it's this plastic piece right here. A lot of other cars, including my Ford Focus, it's the other car in the driveway, it has a bolt that holds all the oil in. So hopefully these oil plugs hold together. Gotta make sure the plug on your drain pan isn't empty, and I'm gonna put the spout upward because I'm on a little bit of a slant here. But let's see if I can get this drain plug out without bumping the camera. There's not a lot of space in here between this sway arm and the transmission right here. Let's see. I'll get pliers. See if I can grab onto it with the pliers and pull it out.
You had one job.
Fun job.
Making fun of me the whole time because I haven't seen this kind of plug before. And that's why I put the cardboard. But you don't really need to worry about getting every last drop of dirty oil out of there. I feel like these are designed to like come off by hand, but it's very difficult to turn in that position. There we go. So the other thing you need to take out while underneath the car is the oil filter, but I can't seem to find it, so I'm gonna Google that really quick. Maybe I do have to take the skid plate off after all.
Excuse me, the did you just say?
Okay, Ford made another interesting design decision with their oil filter placement. Maybe it works better in the Mustangs in that spot, but here in the truck, it's like right above this front cross member that holds the lower A-arms in. So I guess we'll take that out. If you have trouble taking it out, you can stick a screwdriver through it if the people before you put it on way too tight, or if you have the strap oil filter wrench. Like I was fearful of, the oil change tech that put this oil filter on the truck tightened it way too tight. So I had to stick a screwdriver through twice because even after that, I don't know, eighth of a turn, it still wasn't loose enough for me to be able to get off by hand. And even with the second time I stuck the screwdriver through it and twisted it, it was still really, really difficult to get off. When you do it, you have to make sure you get through, all the way through the oil filter, so it has enough to, the screwdriver has enough to bite onto, and you can turn it. When you put a new oil filter on, run a little bit of oil along this ring, and then you only have to get them hand tight. You can use, you know, the used oil or brand new oil. I haven't seen it make a difference in any case, but you know, put a little bit of oil on that ring, and then just get back over here. See, even with the cardboard down, since I had to stick a screwdriver through my oil filter, it still made a mess. Jeez, it's getting dark. Let me get a light. All right, got a light. Where was I? Oil filters. You just stick it right back in where it came off, and then you only have to get it hand tight. You don't have to go crazy Hulk man with a wrench on it. I mean, you should try a little when you make it hand tight, but you don't need to crank it on with an oil filter wrench. I don't know who's teaching oil techs how to do oil changes these days, but that's it. You just crank it on there. After draining the oil and changing the oil filter, all you have to do is fill it up with the recommended amount. Quick mention for Ford's credit for putting the oil filter in such an annoying spot. They did at least, let's see if I can get it on camera here. There it is. They put a drain line. So there's a little plastic tray up here that the oil filter will drain into, and then the oil from the oil filter will come out of this drain pipe into your oil pan. Another mistake I made, to Ford's credit, they wrote it right here in, where is it? In clear, cannot read. It says, do not remove bolts for oil change. And then they have this hole right here for the drain of oil filter tray. So anyway, thanks Ford for making that so legible. All right, last thing for completion's sake is putting in the 9 quarts of oil. All right, now to hopefully do this without making a mess. Oh, come on. The wind's not helping. Come on, wind. I'm standing in front of the wind mostly now, so hopefully this won't be as bad. So there's 5 down, 3.8 to go. So basically what I'm going to do, since 8.8 is close enough to 9, I'm just going to pour it out until it reaches this 1 liter left line. And you don't want to put too much oil in your car because it can cause it to seize up and not run well. But you don't want to put too little or it's going to get dirty before the recommended oil change. And it could also cause premature wear on your engine, meaning it won't last as long. Last thing, put the oil fill cap back on. But anyway, like I said, it's real dark. I think the stars are starting to come out. But that's how you do an oil change on virtually any vehicle. You just need to know the size of oil filter you need, the amount and type, and then that's the same process. The theory is the same on all of it. Okay, last thing about oil changes is that you need to reset the oil light. So this car has a menu. This is another one of those things that is going to be a little bit different on every car, if your car even has a light. So basically it's a mileage counter. It'll put a percentage on how many miles you have left to drive before you need to have an oil change. Like I said, I was at 40,000 miles. But this one, you basically hold okay on the steering wheel until it goes to 100%. On this car, you have to put the key on and not start the car, and then hold down the brake and the gas at the same time for like 30 seconds. It's another little difference between every vehicle out there. So if you want to start doing your own oil changes, you just need to know your own car. You can get it done. These are probably the easiest thing to do oil changes on, which I am planning on doing a maintenance video on motorcycles soon because my brother's motorcycle needs a lot of updates. If you want to see that, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.